Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Sai Ram. So,
Auntie, do you want to recap from last week?
Yeah, we can review the last week's what we did.
Okay. Do you want me to read or the last? This is the
I
one.
don't know. What do you say, Aruna? Should we read it first?
I didn't say anything.
Okay. No. I just wanted to know.
Yeah, summarize. Yeah.
Summarize. Yeah, it's better to summarize, or I don't think we should
Reread it, right? Okay, no problem.
no.
Summarize.
So, anybody wants to summarize the last week's lesson, what we learned? If we have anyone is volunteering, I don't mind it, but otherwise I can do it. Okay.
You can do it, Auntie. Thank you.
Okay, so it started with detachment. That is Sarva Sangha Parityaga. Sarva Sangha Parityaga. That is complete detachment to all the worldly things. You can say dispassion also. So for one who follows this dispassion towards worldly things, they will be able to come to me. Krishna says like that. But Arjuna says, Krishna, is it possible for ordinary people like us to detach ourselves completely from the worldly things? It's not. Please, are you trying to make fun of me? He asks. So then Krishna says, because Arjuna became completely discouraged. So he says, no, there is no need for you to get desperate and discouraged. There is one way how you can do it. That is performing all the activities, nishkama karma, and completely giving it to the Lord. So offering it to the Lord as samarpana. With that samarpana bhava, with that dedication to Bhagawan, if you do any work, saying that Krishna Arpanamastu or Ishvara Arpanamastu, if you say that, then all things will become easy and it is your path will be easier and sadhana will take you to the next stage. That's what we were discussing last time. And at the same time, did we stop here? Performing all in manner is that is so general, indispensable. Yeah, next, can you go on to the, is it okay with all of you? Okay.
No, I think, Auntie, we didn't do this, the last slide last time.
Last time?
The last
Okay.
paragraph, right?
Yeah, okay. Sure.
The performing, right?
No, I think this whole, at least we did not translate from the beginning, this whole paragraph.
In Telugu?
Yeah.
I have to read and then translate it also. So let me try, okay? Krishna, Sarvasvamu Sarvasanga Parityagama anta sulabhamaina pani anukuntiva. Is it very easy for everybody to do that? Dehabhimanamu povalanna maboti samanya manuvalke kaadu. Tapas sampannuలకు కూడా సాధ్యమయ్యే పని కాదు కదా. It's not possible for an ordinary person, but is it? Can it be done by us? Even for tapas sampannalu, those who are tapasvis, it is not possible for them also. So how can I do that? How can we do that? Itti dusadvamaina sadhanalu meeru sulabhamaga cheppuchunnaru. You are saying it very easily. Do it. It is better. It's not so easy to follow. Kani cheyata chala kashtamu. Kevalamo itti maatalto nannu parikshimpa buniatlundi. You are trying to examine me and whether I'm really doing this or not. Krishna, Dini Patti Chodaga, Nenu Ninnu Pandagalna. If I am able to do this, can I attain you? Moksham, can I get moksham? Ani nirutsahamu kaluchunnadi. Ani nirutsahamato nilabadi poinadu. He lost all courage and he stood there. Dini parikinchuchunna Paramatma, Arjunani samipinchi, Neevu nimiri, Baba, Peep nimiri. He just touched him on his back and then encourages him like that. Baba, inta matramnike adari bedari nirutsahamto nilivana akkarledu. You don't have to stand like that, completely discouraged. Ani andalo unna parama rahasyamu vininanta matram vishwamapai vishwasam radu. I am going to tell you something, some secret about it, but by listening you will not be able to achieve it. Vicharinchi chuchina vishayamu vipalamuga teliyanu. You have to inquire into what I am trying to tell you, then you will know it. Ee vidya cheppinanta kashtamayinadi kaadu. It's not very difficult. For Krishna, it's not difficult at all. Neevu kalchinanta dussadhyamaina kaadu. It is not impossible. Sarvasanga parityagiyanna jataya kaashaya vastradhariyai tapasuche shariramunu krishimpache nakkarledu. Because I'm saying Sarvasanga Parityagi, that doesn't mean that you have to wear a ochre robes and then go out to do tapas and making your body go through all the difficulties. It is not so. Neevu cheyu sarva karmamalu Ishwararpana buddhito nishkama karmala acharinchi chalunu. If you do all your nishkama karma with the samarpana bhava, Ishwararpana, if you do it with that sense, then tappaka, you definitely will reach me. Muktudavu kagalu. You can be a mukta. This is true. It is satyam. Inde induloni paramarahasya. This is the secret of liberation. Now he comes to the last. Nishkama karma acharinchutlo everiki yetti prayasama undadu. To perform nishkama karma is not very difficult for everyone. Aite shraddha sampurnamanga undadu. There must be the earnestness, the shraddha should be there. Lokamana yetti chinna karimanu sadhinchavalnaniyo. If you want to achieve anything in this world, without shraddha, nothing can be achieved, nothing can be attained. Ika adhyatmika vishayamanu anta matramaino shraddha avasaramu leda. When you are taking up spiritual inquiry, spiritual things, is it not necessary to have this shraddha? Idi ne pratyekinchi cheppalna. If I have to, do I have to say it separately? No. So this is the last paragraph. Next. It's over.
We didn't read this slide, I think, Narmata, last time. Do you want to just read this?
Which one, Kalyani?
This whole slide, we didn't.
She read it. That's why I'm translating it Telugu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was not here last week, so I don't know. That's why.
Kalyani, it's okay. If you can read it again, there is no problem. We can read it.
Okay.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'll read it then. Okay.
Okay.
Hearing this, Arjuna intercepted. Krishna, do you speak of this sadhana of complete detachment as a simple discipline?
Yeah.
Is it so easy to practice? Even accomplished ascetics find it difficult, and you recommend it so glibly to people like me. You speak of it as if it were a very simple task, but it is a formidable endeavor. I feel you are putting me on a trial with such suggestions. Can I ever attain that state? Can I win liberation? Can I attain moksha? I have no hope. He said,
Narmada, stop there, then I can paraphrase this
Okay.
verse. Now, Krishna, do you speak of this sadhana as a complete detachment? He is saying about Sarva Sangha Parityagam in the previous paragraph. Now he says, Arjuna got really scared, and then he said, Krishna, is it possible for me to completely detach myself? Is it a simple discipline? No, it cannot be. So, and you are recommending it to me. People like me cannot do that. Sarva Sangha Parityaga is not an easy job, to leave everything and complete dispassion towards the family, towards our wealth, towards everything. It's not easy. So can I win liberation? Can I attain moksha? I have no hope, he said, and sat. Yeah. Next paragraph, please.
Krishna was watching him steadily losing courage. He went close to him and patted his back in a reassuring manner. He said, Arjuna, there is no need to get startled and desperate just for this. No one will get faith as soon as one hears of it. One must delve into it with the help of reason. Then it will be found that this discipline is not as hard as it is imagined to be. To become completely detached, it is not necessary to grow matted hair, wear ochre robes, and torture the body into skin and bone. It is enough if you do all acts as dedicated to the Lord, without any desire. This is the secret of liberation.
Yeah, just 1 minute. So in the second paragraph, Krishna is got there this thing that Arjuna was completely discouraged. So he wanted him to get his energy back, and then he wanted him to go and inquire what Krishna is trying to tell him. He says, you have to delve into it with the help of reasoning. You have to inquire with your reasoning. Find out what I am trying to tell you. Sarva Sangha Parityaga doesn't mean that you have to wear a sannyasi's clothes and go to a tapas place where you can carry on tapas or torture your body. No, I am not saying that. Sarva Sangha Parityagi or detachment completely means that you dedicate it to the Lord. Whatever you do, whatever karma you do, you dedicate it to the Lord without any desire. That is nishkama karma. So that is the secret of liberation, he says. Yeah, the last paragraph.
Performing all activities in this manner is not difficult. Only one should have steady faith and earnestness. Of course, these are essential for every type of activity. So you can realize that they are indispensable for spiritual activity too.
Yeah, whatever work you perform, the one thing what you need is faith and earnestness, Shraddha. He says here, Shraddha. Etti karyamu sadhinchalanu Shraddha leka kajaladu kada. Is it not possible to perform any action without Shraddha? No, it's not. You have to have that Shraddha. So, and especially when you are trying to do a spiritual activity, Shraddha is most necessary part of it. That's what he is trying to say. Shall we go to the next one, or any questions about it?
Sairam Aunty.
Excuse me.
Sairam Aunty.
Sairam.
Yeah, couple of points here. So one is we know, like Swami always says, Shraddhavan labate jnanam.
Jnanam.
So I think whether it's in terms of worldly achievements or spiritual achievements, the starting point is Shraddha, whether we call it faith or steadfastness or perseverance. It is about that one-pointed ekagrata or concentration that we need to have. So that is in terms of Shraddha. The other aspect is there's this song, Auntie, if you remember this, Daya Cheta Dhanyulu Kavalara.
Kavalana.
So in that, yeah. So in that we have Kashaya Vastramu Vesinagani and all of that.
Agani.
Yeah.
Kashaya Vastramu Chesin Kantamaladari. Gada Japamala Trippina. Kadakuni Yodaku Ravale Baba.
Yeah. So yes, Auntie. So it just says that one, of course, is Shraddha, but if you see the song, the way it goes, it says Dayacheta Dhanyulu Kavalara Swami Daya Cheta Dhanyulu Kavalar. So it goes to a point that even if all that effort and Shraddha is there, but Shraddha will bear fruit only at the end because of God's grace or God's compassion. So I think it goes hand in hand, that how much effort we put in, and with complete faith, surrender, humility, then that evokes ultimately the compassion from the Lord, which ultimately leads to the fruition or achievement of whatever is needed, both on the worldly realm or the spiritual realm. That is one. And one more point that came to me, a Swami would always say, Chepputamu sulabambu, cheyitamu kashtambu, tatakaina var tatakaina. Like that, Swami would say that couplet. So again, yeah, in terms of, I think, telling is very easy and doing is very difficult. And Swami would use that kind of a couplet. But in this case, I think Swami is saying, if we do it with Shraddha, it becomes easier. So just wanted to add that piece.
It's easier said than done.
Yes, Swami.
Correctly. It's easier said than done. So, but with God's grace, when you offer everything to the Lord, He will definitely take care of it. That's what next paragraph is going to tell us.
Auntie, here one thing I was just contemplating and just thinking about it. You know, sometimes we were thinking, oh, we are doing with the Nishkama Karma, right? And doing everything with the what we understand and do. But at the same time, what where the Sai Sathis is mentioned, you have to see that God grace. You get the God grace also from out of your action, right? So you have to always please Swami, you know, not only just you are doing yourself, you have to see that is what Swami like also.
Yeah, correct.
You know, some people will say, oh, this is the right way, okay, this is I'm not getting anything. That is not sufficient. You know, you have to see whether Swami is pleased to earn his grace.
Yeah.
So that's what I can see it. Thank
You
you.
are not only you are doing and offering it to the Lord, but the Lord also has to accept it and give His grace.
Yes, that is the most important thing.
Both things should come together so that something is achieved. Yeah.
Dasan uncle, you have your hands raised.
Yeah.
Yes, Sairam, Auntie.
Sairam, Sairam.
So here the Swami is mentioning important 3 points: Shraddha, Niskama Karma, dispassionate. So that Lord Krishna is saying that if you want to get moksha, it's a simple thing, is Niskama karma. Because the reason is, you don't, whether you like it or not, everyone has to do karma. Every day they are doing the karma. And when you are doing the karma, do it as a Niskama karma, then you will attain the moksha. Because when you go through the bhakti and other meditation and everything, it's like difficult path, but you can achieve faster. But when you do the niskama karma, everybody can do that one. Only thing, don't look forward to the fruit. Once you look forward to the fruits, only you are going to be caught into the cycle of the death and the birth. So I'm telling you, Lord Krishna is saying, have a faith, you have a shraddha, then believe on that niskama karma, you will achieve the moksha. Thank you.
Not only that, Brother Dasan, so Bhagawan's grace is also needed.
Yes, definitely.
The 3 things, you know, one is dispassion towards the fruit of the action, and you're doing that nishkama karma. And at the same time, when you're offering it to the Lord,
yes,
Ishwararpana Buddhi, you have to have that kind of attitude to offer it to the Lord. And then not only these 2 things, the third point is Bhagwan's grace. His grace is also needed. So all the 3 we get there.
Yeah, because the reason is you can achieve anything, you can, but for the moksha, in order to get the liberation, without his grace, you cannot do. Yeah. And the dispassionate also we have to understand, because that, for an example, I can say mother is watching the TV and that baby is crying. But some reason you are not concentrating the baby is why crying. your concentration on that TV. So same way, we have to, whatever the important, we have to concentrate. Other things not supposed to be reflect in our mind. Thank you.
Okay, Saira.
Saira.
I'll move on then.
Yeah, I think Kalyani, is it okay? There.
Yes, Auntie, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Whoever among devotees dedicates all acts to me with no other thought, whoever meditates on me, serves me, worships me, remembers me, know that I am always with him, ever providing for him in this world and the next. I bear the burden of his yoga shema. Yoga shema.
Yoga Kshema.
Yoga
Kshema.
shema.
Yes.
Do you hear me? Asked Krishna, patting Arjuna again on the back and imparting courage to his drooping heart. This statement about the Lord guaranteeing the yoga kshema of the devotee has given rise to a great deal of misunderstanding. Even Pandits, not to speak of others, have failed to grasp its real import. The commentators on the Gita propagate this declaration in manifold ways. This most sacred sentence is as the navel to the Gita body. The navel of Vishnu was the place where Brahma took birth. This shloka is the navel or place of nativity for those who thirst for Brahma jnana. If this shloka is followed in practice, the entire Gita can be understood.
Yeah. So this way we come to the important sentence, sacred sentence in the Gita. Ananyas chintayanto mam yejana paryupasate tesham nityabhyuktanam yogakshem vahamyaham. The sacred sentence one, this everybody knows, and in fact, if everyone memorizes it, it will be very good. So Krishna is assuring here that those who dedicate, not only that, the important things in the first paragraph, who worships me, who remembers me, who meditates on me, and who is always with no other thought, that's important. All acts with no other thought, whoever meditates on me, his burden, his yogakshemam, that is taking care of, first of all, he gives you whatever you don't have, that is yoga, and kshema means taking care of that also. So he is ready to take the burden of that yoga kshema. So Bhagavan is saying in next paragraph.
Auntie, can you please repeat again for the meaning of the yoga kshema?
Yeah. Ananya, yoga means what God is ready to give whatever you don't possess, yoga. And kshema, after having given that whatever you possess, he will take care of that also. Here, it doesn't mean that material wealth at all. Swami Bhagavan is speaking about the spiritual wealth. I give you all the spiritual knowledge, spiritual wealth to you, and which you don't possess. And not only that, having given that wealth, I will take care of that also, kshema.
Okay.
I take that is the yoga kshema. This is how it is.
Yoga kshema.
Yoga kshema.
Yeah.
Yoga. No.
So that is one you don't have. The God will grant you.
That
and what you have also, He will protect you.
Whatever you have, it is His grace.
Yes.
We have position, and He preserves, He protects them.
Preserve. Yeah. Okay.
He protects the thing, whatever He has given. That is yoga kshema. Very important sentence in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is saying to Arjuna, and not only to Arjuna, to all of us. It means that.
So what is the meaning of I bear the burden of his yoga kshema?
Vahamyaham. Vahamyaham. Vahami means to carry burden like this.
Whatever you have, he takes care, kind of, right?
He takes care, and he will take the burden of taking care of also. Not only giving, but taking care of also. It's a duty, So it is a vahamyaham means I am taking the burden of
Oh.
the looking after you and giving you whatever you want.
And taking taking the burden too.
Burden, I am responsible. I am responsible for all of whatever I have given you to preserve it, to protect it.
Okay.
That's the meaning of yoga and kshema.
Yoga kshema, I bear the burden. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. But what Swami is saying here is this statement about Lord guaranteeing, he is guaranteeing that I am taking care of you. That sentence has been given a wrong interpretation, and misunderstanding will create among the people who listen to it. Even Pandits, they don't speak of it properly. The first thing is with no other thought, with ananyas chintayantomam, that word is there. No, not thinking about anyone else, only God, God only. So whoever meditates on me and serves me, I will take care of you. That, and I'll carry the burden of that responsibility. So, Sai,
Sorry, Aunty. Yes,
please.
Aunty. I was just going to take that story. We know that story where
Yeah,
Lord Krishna and Arjuna, they go to this poor Brahmin's house, and he just has that very old cow, and he's able to get milk from that cow, and he gives it to Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna, when he's leaving, he says, "Let that cow also die." And
yeah,
and Arjuna is shocked, and they go to Duryodhana's palace, and there Duryodhana ill treats Lord Krishna, and whereas Lord Krishna blesses him, saying, "May you be very wealthy and prosperous." And that is when Arjuna asks Lord Krishna, it becomes too much for him, and he asks that pious Brahmin, he is giving whatever he didn't have milk for himself, he gave that milk to you, and you are saying, "Let that cow die," and that cow, is the only means of sustenance for that Brahmin. And here, Duryodhana is ill-treating you, and you're blessing him with all wealth and prosperity. And that is where Lord Krishna says that if that cow also goes away from that Brahmin, that one source of sustenance that he has also goes away. And so he is dependent 100% on me. And then it becomes my part to take care of his yoga kshemam. And that is where what Auntie was saying, it is yogasya kshemam. So it is of yoga, that is union with the Lord. This, I think, when Anna was there, and another thing also we had discussed, it is the kshemam, the welfare of that union with the Lord that the Lord takes care of. So it's not about, oh, I'll make a lot of money in the world if I that kind of an approach. It is more about the spiritual approach, where the thought, word, and deed at every second of existence is seamlessly flowing or thinking only of the Lord. Only
Yeah.
when that incessant thinking of the Lord happens in thought, word, and deed at all points in time, despite the time and space we are in, then yogasya shemam or yoga kshemam is taken care of. So, and that is what the whole thing is implied, because at the end, the Lord is more keen on us coming back to himself or merging with him, rather than spending a lot of time and having a good time in the world, kind of a scenario. So this those thoughts there. Sairam.
I remember another story regarding this bearing the burden. I bear the burden of his yoga kshema, Swami says, So one of the Pandits who was reading this line, Ananyas chintayanto mam yejana paryupase tesha nitya bhyuktanam yoga kshemam vahamyaham. I carry the burden. So that Pandit got a doubt saying that. I think all of you know this story, but let me tell you. But when the Pandit said this, why should Krishna, for our sake, why should he take the burden? Why should he bear the burden on his head? Vahamyaham, he says. So this is a wrong sentence. He was reading it, and then he stuck with his pen, he stuck 2 lines on it, saying that, no, this is not correct. Krishna is the Lord. He has so many other assistants. They can help us. So that was his idea, about the Pandit's idea. And then he told his wife, I am going to the temple and I'll be back within a few minutes. He went out. In the meantime, they were also very poor people. So what there was a knock at the door. The wife opened and saw two boys. One was a little darker and the other was a little fairer. So these two boys were bringing a lot of food items, lot of things, supplies on their head, and then they were carrying it, literally carrying the whole burden. And then said, when they knocked the door, and then, who are you? She said, your husband has sent all these things to you, so take this. And then the burden was lowered. Then she asked, who sent you? Your husband has sent you. Now let us go away, because if we see, and not only that, he has given 2 strikes on my back. He has given 2 strokes on my back. So see it. See, the wife sees the 2 lines on his back. Then they leave the place and then they go away. Then she says, how can my husband, such a nice person, such a wonderful person, he is so compassionate, he could not have done this to those children who really were bringing food for us. And then when the husband comes back and he sees, who sent you all these things? So he says, you are the one. 2 boys came here and they gave all the things, supplies to us. And then at the back of one boy, I saw 2 lines, 2 strokes. I must have bitten you. You bet them. That is what she was trying to tell him. Then Krishna, that Pandit says, no, I could not have done this. This is something very strange. And then when he remembers, and he asks, who were the 2 boys? One was very fair and one was a darker boy. He remembers this. Nobody else, Balarama and Krishna, must have come to give all these things, whatever we need. And then, I wrote in the book, and that those 2 lines I struck off with the pens, and those 2 lines which I marked has left a deep mark on the back of the Lord Krishna. So he feels very sorry. Really, he carries our burden. That is what he comes to the conclusion. So this story is very Sai Ram.
Sai Ram aunty, how the line came, I didn't get that one.
No, with his pen, he strikes like this. Those 2 lines. Yoga Vahamyaham, he strikes like
okay. Because he didn't understand, he crossed it. So that is went on to his.
Krishna takes that the strokes.
Okay.
Those 2 strokes, that's what in the back.
Okay.
And just adding to Auntie's thing, the Nama and Rupa are not different, no, Auntie. So that way, Sister Aruna, I think because it got struck on the Lord's word, it got struck on the Lord also.
Okay.
Nama and Rupa, yes, correct.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Why Lord Krishna is saying that this sacred sentence is the navel of the Gita body, he says. Most important navel. Navel is the navel of Vishnu, was the place where Brahma was born. So this sloka is just like a place of nativity for those who thirst for Brahmagnana. So here the important thing is Krishna is taking care of everything. The total faith and Shraddha in him. That makes us that leads us to the Brahmagnana. Sai Ram. Any comment?
Auntie, just curious here, Auntie. Like I understand here, Bhagavan has said that this shloka is the navel. So in terms of sustenance, that gets correlated to, because the Lord is saying that he will take care of the devotee. Is there a shloka like where Swami has said this is the heart of Bhagavad Gita or something like that? I'm just curious to
I have not come across this, but the Swami is saying is navel of the Gita body. In Telugu, what he says is, let me read it out to you. Gita Swarupamunaku e Parama Pavitra Padamu Nabi Vantidi. It is just like a navel. Gita Swarupa, for the Gita Swarupa, or the body of the Gita. Srishtikartayaina Brahmaku Vishnu Nabi etlu Janmasthanamo Brahmagnanamunu Pondugoru Gita Parayana Prachara Sadhakuluku E Yogakshemam Vahamyam Attistanamu Vantidi. Those who are in search of the Brahmagnana, for such sadhakas, this Swami's words, Yogaksham Vahamyam, it is just like that navel, the snanam, the position of the navel. Like దీనిని అనుసరించిన గీత పూర్తిగా అర్థము కాగలదు. దీనిని అనుసరించిన గీత. If you don't understand this part of it, you will not understand Gita also. Gita పూర్తిగా అర్థము కాగలదు. Kagaladu means it. If you understand it, you can interpret Gita in a proper way. I don't think this in Telugu Swami has any. Okay. If any comment is not there, they can go to the next slide. Oh.
Okay. There are a number of interesting stories current about this sloka. I shall give one example. A learned Pandit was once giving discourses on the Gita in the august presence of a Maharaja. One day, the turn of this sloka came. Auntie, yeah, if you don't mind, because I might.
Ananyas chintayanto mam yejana paryupasate tesham nityabhyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham.
The Pandit was explaining enthusiastically the many-sided implications of this shloka. But the Maharaja shook his head and said, "This meaning is not correct." He continued to dispute the correctness of every one of the explanations the Pandit gave. The poor Pandit had won meritorious distinctions at the court of many Maharaja and was honored by them all with pompous titles. He felt as if he was stabbed when the Maharaja, in the presence of the entire band of courtiers, condemned his explanation of the shloka as wrong. He smarted under the insult. But plucking up courage, he again set upon his task, and collecting all his scholarship, he plunged into an eloquent discourse on the multiple meaning of the words yoga and shema. The Maharaja did not approve of even this. He ordered, "Find out the meaning of this shloka, and having understood it well, come to me again tomorrow." With this, Maharaja rose from his throne and went into the inner apartments. The Pandit lost even the few grains of courage left in him. He was weighed down by anxiety. He tottered under the insults. He reached home and, placing the copy of the Gita aside, he fell on the cot.
Yeah, this is a very beautiful story, but it has to go on. In the next paragraph, it goes. Shall we read the whole story and then we can have an idea?
Sure.
Yeah. Just the story.
Yes. Sorry, my computer is slow. One second.
Oh.
Okay, next one. Okay. Surprised at this, the Pandit's wife said, Tell me why you came home from the palace today in such grief. What exactly did happen? She rained one anxious question after another, so the Pandit was obliged to describe to her all that had happened, the insults heaped on his head, the command with which the Maharaja sent him home, etc. The wife listened calmly to the account of what had happened, and after pondering deeply over the incident, she said, "Yes, it is true. What the Maharaja said is right. The explanation you gave for the shloka is not the correct one. How could the Maharaja approve it? The fault is yours." At this, the Pandit rose in anger from the cot, like a cobra whose tail is trodden hard. "What do you know, you silly woman? Am I inferior in intelligence to you? Do you who are engaged in the kitchen all the time, cooking and serving, claim to know more than I? Shut your mouth and quit my presence," he roared. But the lady stood her ground. She replied, "Lord, why do you fly into such a rage at a statement of mere truth? Repeat the shloka once again to yourself and ponder over this meaning. You will then arrive at the right answer yourself." Thus, by her soft words, the wife brought calm into the mind of her husband. The Pandit started analyzing the meaning of each individual word in the shloka. "Ananyas chintayanto mam," he began, deliberating and slowly repeating aloud the various meanings. The wife intervened and said, "What benefit is it to learn and expound the meanings of words? Tell me what your intention was when you approached this Maharaja. What was the purpose?" At this, the Pandit got wild. "Should I not run this family, this home? How am I to meet the cost of food and drink, of clothes and things, for you and all the rest? It is for the sake of these that I went to him. Of course, or else. What business have I with him?" he shouted. I'll continue, Auntie. The wife then replied, "If you had only understood what Lord Krishna has declared in this shloka, the urge to go to this Maharaja would not have arisen. If he is worshipped without any other thought, if one surrenders to him, if at all times the mind is fixed on him, then the Lord has declared in this shloka that he would provide everything for the devotee. You have not done these three. You approached the Maharaja believing that he would provide everything. That is where you have gone against the meaning of the verse. That is the reason why he did not accept your explanation." Hearing this, that reputed scholar sat a while ruminating on her remarks. He realized his fault. He did not proceed to the palace the next day. Instead, he got immersed in the worship of Krishna at home. When the king inquired why the Pandit has not appeared, courtiers said that he was staying at home and had not started out. The king sent a messenger, but the Pandit declined to move out. He said, "There's no need for me to go anywhere. My Krishna will provide me with everything. He will bear my yoga kshema himself. I suffered insult because I did not realize this so long, being blinded by eagerness to know the manifold meanings of mere words. Surrendering to him, if I am ceaselessly engaged in worshipping him, he will himself provide me with all I need." You are on mute, Auntie. Sorry.
So interesting.
Go back to the original place where it started.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's here. Sai Satish, can you just summarize the whole story in
Sairam Aunty. So, means it is more like today we had the play at the center. Chappinatlu Chestara.
Oh, same. Oh, is it? That's good.
yeah.
I got reminded of the play when I was reading this story, brother.
Yeah, exactly, sister. So it is more like, I think the king reminded the Pandit, is his actions really meeting what he is expounding? So if the Pandit would have truly understood the meaning of the word Yogakshemam, or the whole thing of Ananyas Chintayanto Mam, then the need to go to the king, the need to show his scholarly exhibition, the need to get all the praise from the courtiers and the king, and all of that wealth to follow, all of that would have not been in place in the first instance itself, and all of those scholarly titles that he has got, because the time spent in earning worldly fame and name and fame, that time would have been spent in thinking of the Lord, which would have given him both Iha and Para, in the sense the Lord would have taken care of Yogakshemam in this world, and he would have got the Lord as such, because he's been contemplating on the Lord continuously. So I think the story drives home the message that when we think of the Lord incessantly or continuously, then we attain the Lord, and by attaining the Lord, since the Creator holds the creation automatically takes care of our whatever is needed in terms of our wants and so on. Saira.
The mistake what Pandit did was, he wanted wealth, he wanted money, some financial help. So he approached the king. So naturally, the asakti and ashraya, last time when we were talking about asakti and ashraya, asakti is to eagerness to something to earn. And then you go to the ashraya, that is taking refuge. So both were, they were pointing towards the king. The Pandit went with the idea that he would give him lots of wealth. So he approached the king and he was praising him in his mind. And at the same time, reading Geetha's sentence, Ananyas Chintayantoma. Actually, he was worrying about, he was thinking about the Maharaja, what he is going to give. So that is the mistake which he did. And the wife points out, she is a smart lady. She points out, what you are doing is wrong. That is why the king did not agree to what your explanation for this shloka. So that is, your attention was on the king and the wealth that he is going to do. Instead of that, if you had complete that ekagrata with that one-pointedness, if your attention had been on the Lord would have taken the whole Yogakshema. He would have given you not only the worldly thing, but even the spiritual wealth he would have given. That is where he went wrong. So, and at the same time, he thinks that he knows too much. And he got insulted, he feels that he was insulted by the king. So all these things, we can make out and learn a lesson about. Lots of lessons are there in Bhagavad Gita. Is one of them. And there are, go ahead, Satish.
I'd like to add one more point here too, because Pandits, they can teach anything. Even Bhagavad Gita, we can learn anywhere. But if we don't understand, if we don't contemplate ourselves, it doesn't come to our heart. So we are like really listening or reading, but you have to contemplate, and you have to, when you practice that one, then you will get the essence of that one. So here also, eventually that Pandit didn't go to the court, then because he thought God is going to provide everything. Then the king also understood the meaning. This is the meaning the Pandit trying to explain to me, that he doesn't need to look for the king, that he is going to take care of me. If he has a faith with the God, he will take care of everything. That is the final thing. Thank you, Saira.
Saira Mandi, as a Pandit, I am trying to understand here from the story. As a Pandit, he goes and explains to the king it's right thing to do, right? If he asked to do. But the intention was wrong, and he didn't know the meaning of it is the wrong. But the food and all, because he is serving him. But the way he went to explain, he didn't have the understanding. That's why he was insulted. He didn't know the meaning. That's what I think went wrong.
No, the king teaches him a lesson. The king tells him that you're wrong. You have come to me for the sake of wealth. The meaning of the slokam says, Ananya chintayanto mam. Those who really meditate upon me, those who really think of me incessantly, without any break. Ananyas chinta, Ananya. Nobody else is should be in your mind. If you have complete attention on me and worship me, ye jana paryupase, the one who worships me, tesham nityabhyuktanam, every whatever for such bhaktas, I will take care of that. Their yoga.
That meaning he didn't understood. That's the main thing. He was insulted. The Pandit didn't understand. To tell them, right?
That was smart enough.
But yes, just he went to explain to get money only. But if he went to explain with a good intention, without expecting any understand the meaning, then I think the Maharaja or king would have accepted it. He would have understood. But whereas his understanding wasn't there.
He teaches him a lesson, saying that doing something, talking something, that is what he was saying,
Now he learned from the wife and the king. All the people learn from the wife and the king.
Whatever they say, walking the talk. Whatever you say, you have to practice it also. So that is where it is wrong. It went wrong. In those days, these Maharajas, in their court, they would have learned people, kavi and poets, musicians, and all those artists. They would promote their art. That is why they used to go to the court and they used to stay there. Asthana Vidwan, they were called. Asthana Vidwan. Many of them stayed with the king, and the king provided them everything. So such a practice was there. So thinking in that way, this Pandit also went to him. But real meaning, he did not carry the good intention in his mind. That's what, in this connection, we can give other examples like Tyagaraja. Saint Tyagaraja, he was a great poet and he was writing so many compositions about all the lords. And the king thought, why not I have in my court so that he will write on me also. So that kind of egoistic attitude he had. So he sends to Tyagaraja. Tyagaraja was a very pure saint person. He did not have anything. So he sends him all kinds of jewelry, food, clothes, and everything. Big, huge quantities he sends and asks him to accept it. Tyagaraja says, he knew what it was, the intention of the king. So he did not want to serve the king. He wanted to serve only the Lord Rama. So that is why he says, Nidhi Chala Sukama. Nidhi means wealth. Nidhi Chala Sukama. Ramuni Sannidhi Seva Sukama. The nearness to the Lord Rama, is it going to give me a lot of happiness, or should I go to the king for his wealth which he is offering me? So that is beautiful song Tyagaraja composes there. Nidhi Chala Sukama, Ramuni Sannidhi Seva Sukama, Nijamuga Balku Manasa. Truly tell me, oh mine, I will follow it. That's what.
Very, very nice verse, Auntie.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
I'll just sing a little line.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Nidhi Chala Sukama, Ramuni Sannidhi Seva Sukama, Nijamuga Balku Manasa, Nidhi Chala Sukama. Ramuni Sannidhi Seva Sukama. nearness to the Lord Rama, is it going to give me a lot of happiness? Or this nidhi, this wealth, is it going to give me happiness? So he asks his Nijamuga Balku Manasa, oh mind, tell me what is truth. So that's how. So many examples like Meera, Bhakta Meera also left everything. She was a queen, but she left everything she went in search of the Lord Krishna. So such examples we find in our Puranas and in our Itihasas.
Yeah. But
Sairam.
the rhyming word is very nice on that song.
Nidhi, Sannidhi.
Nidhi and near.
Nidhi is
And
wealth.
Sannidhi. So
Sannidhi
all those
is,
three things very nicely flowing.
oh my goodness, Tyagaraja's Kriti, it is.
Yes, very nice.
Sai Satish, if you have any other example you can give.
Sorry, Auntie, you covered it very nicely, Auntie. I was just going to say that the Pandit had knowledge before he went to the king, but he got wisdom at the end of this whole story, and that is where he really made it a part of himself, and then he didn't have to go back to the king, because till that time he had gone to several courts and expounded the same thing, and he had got several titles, and he hadn't really got the wisdom, but it was only knowledge, and he had shown his scholarly capabilities, but it was only when the core of the meaning or the inner meaning of this whole Bhagavad Gita hymn that has come out for him in totality, did he realize the contradiction that he's actually living with. And so I think he didn't have to go to the king.
Yeah. Narmada, can you?
In this also, the Pandit went for the money, for the family, to earn money only. So he went for the nidhi and not to the nearest to the Lord, right? That's what happened here. Thank you.
Narmada, can you go to the next slide?
So yeah, okay.
Yeah. Anything in this slide if you want, if anybody wants to ask. I think the wife was more wise. She was able to find out.
Always, Auntie.
woman activist. I can't say, sometimes we also go wrong.
I think I can move to the next one too.
Another example is Tulsidas. In the case of Tulsidas also, he was such a great poet. Again, the king sends him, asks him to come to his court and then be with him. He says no. He is also a great devotee of Rama, who has written Ramayana in Avadhi, the language of Ayodhya, that is Avadhi. All these great saints, unfortunately, they were all poor. But poverty did not make them go to the masters in the like kings and those who promote their poetry or their art. They totally believe that Lord is there to take care of us. Why should we worry? That was their attitude, and it helped them also.
Auntie, that is the reason the Krishna was, we were reading that, right? The Krishna was taking away the life of the cow, which is giving the milk for that man also. So making more poverty over there, right? To remember only him, right? So even a little bit is there, even sometime God will take away to realize him. He's the only person to give him.
But the opposite happens. If Lord takes away something, we sit and cry, and then why did it happen to me?
And forget about the God later.
We are questioning him. Lord, why did you take away all these things? We are not like those Brahman, that poor Brahman. Okay. Kalyani is gone? I think
Yeah,
she's-
she couldn't stay today. That's why I'm
Oh, sorry. Okay, then.
Should I move on? I think with the story.
The story, of course, everybody has understood the story, I hope. No, we can go on, move on.
When the messenger took this message to the palace, the Maharaja proceeded to the dwelling of the Pandit on foot. He fell at the feet of the Pandit, saying, I thank you sincerely for explaining to me this day, out of your own experience, the meaning of the shloka which you expounded yesterday. Thus, the king taught the Pandit that any propagation of spiritual matters which does not come out of the crucible of experience is mere glitter and show. Even today, many learned men who go about discoursing on the Gita and doing propaganda for it do not observe its principles in practice. They are engaged in simply expounding to the world the valueless rind, the textual meaning, the sense of the words, and nothing more. Trying to spread the Gita without actually practicing it is tantamount to ruining the cause of insulting the sacred book. They extol the Gita as the very breath of their life, as the crown of all scriptures, and as having emanated from the lips of the Lord Himself. They show so much reverence for the book that their eyes overflow with tears at the very mention of this name. They place it on their heads. They press it on their eyes. They keep it in their shrines and offer puja to it with great bursts of demonstrative devotion. All their worship is only for the paper, the book. If indeed they have reverence for the words of the Lord, the contents of the book, they would have striven to put them into practice, is it not? No, they do not strive. They have no iota of experience. If they have the experience, none of them would barter the spread of that experience for money. They would yearn only for grace.
Okay.
No Nidhi. No, you shouldn't go for Nidhi.
Pardon me?
You shouldn't go for Nidhi.
Ram Sannidhi. We have to go to Samnidhi, not Nidhi. Yeah, that's correct.
Near and Sannidhi.
Okay.
And also here Swami speaks about the experience, right?
Yeah, correct.
The words.
Yeah, experiential knowledge. Experiential knowledge is the real knowledge. Vijnana, what we call. Then, this we learn so many, we get knowledge from the books. We read Shastras, we read Veda, we read Upanishads, we read other secular subjects also. But we get the knowledge of all those things. That's only Gnana. Only when you experience that is called Aparoksha Gnana. That is in experiential knowledge. That is Vijnana, they call it. Because unless you go through that experience, you will not be able to understand what the real thing is. Even realizing the self is just, in the books it says, everything says that Brahman pervades everywhere, Brahman is in you, in me, in everybody. But are we able to experience that Brahman in us? That's the question. Only when we feel that, yes, I am that divine, I am. Until and unless we come to that conclusion, that knowledge, what we get is valueless. Sai Ram.
Swami would give that example of the traveler. So this traveler is taking all the food with him and going, and after some time that food that he is carrying with him itself becomes a burden. So he sits down under the shade of a tree and nicely eats that food. and then he carries on with rest of his journey, and now he's very happy because what he was carrying as a baggage, now he has assimilated and made it part of him, which gives him the energy and strength to further take the journey forward. So it is like when we go through scriptures, when we go through Vahini, when we go through everything, no doubt it comes as knowledge, but until unless we make it wisdom, which is part of our experience, and put it into our day-to-day life and practice, only then it will give us the energy to go forward with conviction as also, or else it will just become another burden, like how I'm carrying so many other burdens, I'm carrying one more burden of this in my head. So it's about, Swami would, like what Auntie was saying, Swami would say practical knowledge, practical knowledge. He would always say more than bookish knowledge, practical knowledge is important. So yeah, just highlighting that.
But at the same time, Sai Satish, it is very important for us to know things first. Only, that jnana is very important. Then it can be transformed
Yes,
into.
Yes, Auntie, 100%. Yeah, yes, Auntie, correct. Because first, if we don't know, then we are not even carrying the food. We can't even eat. So we have to. So we have to get the food. And getting that food is acquiring all of this. But even as much as we get the food, we should also spend some time, like Swami would say, like how the cow chews the cud. So it means we should eat this and try to assimilate it. Like as much as we have Shravanam, we should also do like Mananam and Nididhyasana. So we should think about it. We should try to make it part of ourselves. We should try to see as much as possible applied. Then it helps us and gives us that strength to go forward. Or else it will just remain like how I have learned so many things. This will become another thing that I have learned, but have I practiced it?
Yeah. Put a tick mark that I have learned this, I have learned that, I have learned this. But how far have I put it into practice? That's the thing.
Yes, and it'll become like part of the resume, right? Like CV. We like, I know this also. I know this slokam. Like that it'll become like one check mark. Yeah.
And then Swami here in this the third paragraph, he says, there are many people who keep the book Gita, Ramayanam and other things in their puja room, and then, they place it in a very reverential place and offer puja also to this. It is all, Swami says, demonstrative. It's not enough. We have to, it's only respect for the paper is this.
Swami would say that, right? He would say like God is Bhava Priya, not Bahya Priya. So it is about not the outward show, but inner feelings.
Yeah.
Dasanana raised.
Yes, Sairam, Auntie.
Sairam.
So we cannot blame the Pandit nowadays because this is Kali Yuga. Here, how many people join in the Gita thing? Only 11 people. But whenever you look at that internet and everything, thousands of people, they join because of the nectar of talking, how they attract the people. But they don't have any experience, but they can talk very well. So for an example, one time the Pancha Pandavas, they asked the Lord Krishna, how is the Kali Yuga is going to be? Then he threw 4 arrows to go and pick up. Then I can tell one story that Arjuna went and picked up the arrow. Then he saw a bird nicely singing, but he's eating a meat. Then he couldn't understand. Then he came back with the arrow to Lord Krishna. Then he asked the explanation. Then Lord Krishna explained, in Kali Yuga, the people talk nicely, but they do bad things. You can see in the internet so many gurus, and they end up with sexual harassment, and the money things all. So they are not, is so many things happening. So what we learn from here, only few people even, we are getting, we are not expecting money or anything. Actually, we are doing Niskarma Seva. So this way, we are learning so many things too. Thank you, Saira.
I think we have come to the end of the chapter. Isn't that, Narmada? One more is there.
Almost, yeah.
One more paragraph, yeah.
Mm.
I can read that, I guess. Not even one in a million among the Geetha Prachakas.
No, Pracharakas.
Oh,
Mm.
Pracharakas. Today,
Geetha Pracharakas.
Geetha Pracharakas. Today, among those who talk about their mission of spreading the Gita, has the yearning for the grace of the Lord. No, if they have that yearning, they would not have thought of income or of money.
Yeah. Pracharaka means the one who expounds Gita. One who explains Gita. Gita Pracharaka. That is
Prachara.
Pracharaka. Okay.
So, Auntie, it's clear now, anybody teaching spirituality shouldn't think of the money at all. They have to give the knowledge to others. That's a jnana dana. Okay?
Yeah.
If they use it for spirituality business or earning money, that they won't, they won't earn any grace from God. So really, that is a sin if they are going to do as a business. So it's always earn the grace. You do it with your full heart and share the knowledge. That is a jnana dhanam that you have to do. Thank you, Sarah.
But
Yeah.
all of them are not like that. All Pracharakas are not like that. There are really genuine people who really want that knowledge to be shared with others. They are there to take care of them. That's it. Saira. Brother Dasan, I think you wanted to say something.
No, I agree to whatever the sister told, yeah.
Yeah.
And you too, Auntie.
But at the same time, if they have totally depend on this thing as for their source of income, that there are people who really depend on this.
But Auntie, a source of income mean Auntie, that's what we learn. We should not depend on the people. If we have full faith on Lord, He will take care of.
He will take care of us. That is Ananyas Chintayantoma.
Thank you.
The Pandit went for their source of income for their family. That is where he learned his lesson. He shouldn't go for that, right? So the source of income is not from the spirituality, knowledge, sharing the spirituality. You're supposed to earn from something else, not from sharing the Lord's names and experience.
I don't know, you cannot say like that. There are people who really totally depend on some to take care of their family. They follow this profession. They follow the profession. Of course, they may, while explaining, they may be explaining it in a proper way. But if they needed that to take care of their family, the people who do this such things, such
Auntie, my understanding is the people can voluntarily do the donation or tachana without saying others anything, right? But the person who is doing it shouldn't have any expectation.
That's of course. Whatever comes to him, he will accept as prasadam.
Yeah, otherwise, he's not doing the right thing. Then he will end up with a Pandit story only.
Yeah, correct.
So, Auntie, you always take one example from Siradi Chachatra book. There's one incident happened, the Mahasabhabadi, the priest, someone wants to give money and Baba stopped that money because he doesn't want to get more money, whatever, he'll take care of the priest. So he doesn't want to entertain others giving money also.
Yeah.
Actually, Auntie, if we see, I think what Bhagawan is trying to tell us, we can use the worldly actions and offer it to the Lord and make it spiritual.
Yeah.
We cannot take spiritual actions and make it worldly.
Worldly. Exactly. What you are saying is very correct.
Yes, Aunty. So when they are doing spiritual activities and the end goal of that spiritual activity is money, that means you're changing the whole process of what Bhagavad Gita is saying, where you should make worldly actions spiritual and not spiritual actions worldly. And when they do this whole thing of preaching Gita and everything for the sake of money, then it makes that spiritual action worldly, and that is where it becomes self-defeating. And so yoga kshemam is that understanding, yeah, it gets messed up. So I think that is
But you remember, Sai Satish, in olden days, you must have come across those people.
like Unjavritti, auntie, like Unjavritti.
Shengalipuram Dikshitar and all those people, who used to give lots of discourses on Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, whatever it is. They were, of course, voluntarily, people used to offer dakshina to them, and they were very happy with what they were trying to teach us. So some of them demanded also. Some of them demanded, as you say, a spiritual activity became a worldly activity for them. And we have seen many examples in the past. People coming only giving discourses on something for the sake of earning something. There are examples of.
Auntie, there are people start with a good intention or saying spiritual knowledge. When they see money, they run behind of the money. That's it. That's the end of the story for them, like a bandit. But spirituality, if they wanted to keep that sharing the knowledge, always they have to have the aim of sharing Lord's name to earn His grace. That is the point of view. If they change that state of mind, then there's no use. They won't connect.
Swami recommends that Jnana Yajna, whatever you read, you share it, that knowledge with others. That is the best way of offering it to the Lord.
Yeah. I know, I don't know much of like all the verses or no much knowledge about the Bhagavad Gita, but the 18th one, the chapter, it says, when you tell the whatever you have learned from the Bhagavad Gita to others, you will come to me. Krishna will say that, right? So sharing the knowledge with the good intention only. Yes, no, not the money intention will not
help us.
Not referring that. And he's asking to the say to the right people only. If they are not in the state of mind to listen, then he's asking not to share it even.
Yeah, you have to give it a patra shuddhi, that is called. The person who understands what you are trying to tell him and what's the stage of Bhagavad Gita. Those who understand it, only to them you can tell, but not Tom, Dick and Harry who has no idea about what Bhagavad Gita is. So it is God's grace only that we all have come together in this session, like, Geetha Vahini or Dharma Vahini. We all come together only because of Swami's grace. And we are trying to discuss things which we don't know and things which we know, and sharing others' views also about the same thing. And it's a good thing what Swami has given us this opportunity. We are really grateful to him.
Sister Shivani's hand is up.
Shivani?
Sai Ram. I'm also seeing Sai Ram. I'm also seeing, like, when we take, I'm just taking upon myself, when we take that stance of Gita Pracharak or teaching, because after finishing this, and if I go and see, oh, I have read Geetha Vahini, or I know everything, it gives, or for money, if other people have what we are talking in this context, those who really do this thing just with the thought of income and money, I'm seeing that there is a sense of ego, pride also comes. So it's no way it's helping, because you're going as Pacharak, as, that teacher or that knowledge person, what we call Gita knowledgeable person. So there is a sense of pride and ego also comes, because when you're doing for income or money, you have to go as an expert, subject matter expert, what we call in this world language. Then you always take a stand of, I am right. So it's not helping you in any way, as we said. So Gita Jnana has to be for your own development, and the other means you can't use this for your own income, for earning your livelihood. Just a thought there.
There is no place for ego here. No place at all. Who are
And I'm
we?
just saying, for those who do that, like who we are talking about, those who earn, those who do these things with a thought of income and money, there can be a sense of pride and ego comes as well.
Not only pride and ego, and at the same time, circumstances might have also forced them to take up that position as, some you have to understand that point also. Saira. Okay,
And-
I think Sai Satish, if you have.
No, I was just going to say, Auntie, like what Sister Shivani was saying, just adding that when somebody becomes a Geetha Pracharak, it's actually like a life of sacrifice, because at the end, when somebody does Geetha, this kind of bodhana, then many people look up to them for several things. So their entire life has to be one of sacrifice. And like what Swami says, if it is like you have this vulture which is flying high in the sky, but its vision is always directed to the carcass that is on the ground, then it doesn't help neither the vulture nor the people who are looking at that vulture thinking, oh, it's a great bird that's flying high up. So because all it's looking at is in terms of food, in terms of the worldly aspect. So when the person truly is a Geetha Pracharak, then like you were mentioning, the small I dissolves in the capital I, and they become such a source of inspiration. Their whole life is such a joy for others that they also strive to emulate them. That is what should be the way a Geetha Pracharak ultimately, because they live the Geetha in their day-to-day life.
That's good. Saira. I think we can close, or if nobody is there.
I have a question, Auntie. So many people nowadays, they're following the wrong, guru or something like that. Finally, they found out the issue. So their spirituality may go down too. So what is the answer with your experience you can tell? Because they believe, and eventually they found out that is, the media and everything comes up and they prove that one. So what can I say to the poor, the followers?
The followers have to think about it and then follow the guru properly. If they can, of course, we cannot just.
In the beginning, you cannot, you had a lot of faith, and one day you out, then these people will be so sad, and they cannot come out from that one. So what you can say to those people with your experience, Sai Satish or anyone?
Sai Satish can go ahead. Sai Satish, please go ahead.
Yes, Auntie. So, Brother Dasan, the thing is, the Lord has said, Name Bhakta Pranashyati. My devotee will never perish. So, for those followers, if they are sincerely seeking the Lord, even if they get caught initially in the jaws of a fake guru, the real guru or God will guide them 100%. Because if the disciple is sincere, then the goal will be achieved. Even if they fall initially into a pit because of some misguiding guru, they will ultimately reach their destination because the inner guru will guide them ultimately. So that is there. It may be like karma that they have to go through that phase, but if they have Shraddha, they will get jnanam. So I think ultimately it comes to that kind of, Swami would always say pattudala or ekagrata, that kind of devotion, sincerity, one-pointed attention. If that is there, even if they have to go through a difficult phase, ultimately they will get to the goal. So, yeah,
a very good explanation. Is there any stories in the Shastras, anywhere Prahladan, Hiranyakashipu, any stories related to this one that people follow? Anything you heard about? I don't have anything. That's what I'm asking.
No, for me, I means directly for exactly telling this point, I will. I don't have a story, but if you know, we know the story of like Jada Bharata, like those kind of stories where even if initially they are lost in that attachment, but their inner thing, because they have lived that life, it guides back Jada Bharata to take birth again, as because he remembers even when he goes back to being the fawn, he still remembers the life that he has led as a great sage, and so he goes back. So it is just an example where if you have really that inner passion, in that inner urge is there, then the divine inside will guide us, independent of whatever happens.
So always that means we have to believe only the Sadguru. Then others are teachers. Teachers might make mistakes. So even though if you are following the teacher, but you have to understand whatever they're teaching, but your focus supposed to be on the Sadguru.
When the time comes, the Guru will appear to you. That's what they say, the Guru will come to you personally. So we don't have to go to another fake Guru and then go through all the struggles. But real Guru will, our own Guru will appear before us. If you have the passion, if you have the real sincerity in seeking the Lord, Guru will come to us. Sairam.
Thank you, Sairam.
Yeah, yes, and like what Auntie said is 100% true. We think actually the disciple is searching for the Guru. Swami would always say the Guru is searching for the true disciple, because it's like I can speak for myself. I'm more of a part-time devotee, right? Am I a full-time devotee? If I am a full-time devotee, if I am the true disciple, then wherever I am, the Lord will come searching for us. The Guru will come searching for us. So the question that I have to ask myself is, am I being the disciple who is being true to the Guru? Then the Guru will appear.
Yes, I like the way the Shraddha, already the Lord has spoke about it, because as Sai Sati says, Shraddha is the disciple really look for the Lord. That person will be guided by the Lord itself, because we are always saying we are the sparkle of divine. So divine is within us. So it knows when we are in the wrong path and you are really struggling, there will be a guidance will be there. You will be receiving from the Lord. It's a grace of Lord, you will get it. So in between these kind of things, as anything like something is unacceptable things are happening, that is because you are facing those things. As Brother Satish says, is maybe your karma. But if you look for with your Shraddha, really look for the Lord, you will be guided by the Lord itself.
Yeah, correct.
That's how I believe. Thank you, Sai.
I think it's 4:30, Aruna. Shall we close?
We'll close.
Just want to say, such a beautiful discussion before Guru Purnima. I just want to say that how we are talking about Guru internal.
Yes, very nice, Shivani.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes. Tomorrow is Guru Purnima. Happy Guru Purnima to all.
Guru Bhyo Namaha, Sri Guru Bhyo Namaha, Sri Sathya Sai Namaha. Let us say that. Oh, Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Sri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Sri Sai Namaha. Okay.
Oh, Guru. Oh, lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram.